Okay, Baruch Hashem, I'm going to keep this quite short because I know Israel have to light quite soon and we've got to get ready. There's lots going on here, but I learned some sweet, sweet, beautiful Torah and I had to share it with someone, and it's you and whoever's going to watch the recording, because we know that our sages teach us that there's huge, huge, huge spiritual light coming down into the world. Chanukah is the festival of lights, and we know that all of the Chagim, all of the festivals are really light coming into the world. Hashem's just putting shefa, divine abundance, into creation. And we have to make a vessel, we have to create a vessel in order to receive the divine light that's coming down. And the vessel is the mitzvah. So on Pesach, the vessel to receive the light of Pesach, the divine Or Ein Sof, this supernal light and energy, is eating matzah. And on Sukkot, it's having a sukkah and shaking the Daled Minim. So each of the Chagim has a vessel to receive the light. And the vessel to receive the light on Chanukah is light itself. This is an amazing thing. When the vessel becomes the light, that's the highest thing we can have. So that's actually why we said we're not allowed to use the light of the Chanukah. We're allowed to just look at it, because is a spiritual light that's coming into the world that usually we can't see that spiritual light. We can try and feel the spiritual light and connect to the spiritual light through doing the mitzvah, but we can't see the spiritual light. But on Chanukah, we actually see it. It's my Rebbe, the Belvavi, says that the Chanukah is just the garment, it's the external garment, but really what we are seeing is this light, this divine light that's coming into the world. Our eyes actually are seeing it through this physical garment. And just like we are physical and spiritual, we have our Neshama, which is all light, which is all spiritual, and our guf is the vessel, the kli to receive the light. So too the Chanukah candle is the physical kli, but really we're seeing the light. And we know that this divine light, when Hashem said, let there be light, at the beginning of creation, it didn't mean the light of the sun, natural light, because the sun was only created on day 4. So it's this spiritual light, the Or Ein Sof, and it was hidden away, but it was hidden away only after 36 hours. It shone for 12 hours on Friday, and then we had the 24 hours of Shabbos. So that's 36 hours, and that's why we light 36 candles. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7, 6 plus 7 plus 8 is 36. So we're lighting up 36 candles to tap into this power of the 36 hours of the spiritual light coming down. So we have to make ourselves into a vessel. And our sages teach us that it's going to take preparation. For any of the Chagim, you're going to have preparation. And hachana, the Hebrew word preparation, hachana, is made up of 2 words. In Gematria, it's the same Gematria as moach velev. Moach means your mind, and lev means your heart. So you have to understand it. First, you have to understand and think about what you're about to do. And secondly, you have to have your heart. You have to be yearning for it. You have to want it. You have to look forward to it. So especially with Chanukah candles, there's so very little. You know, you can have the most normal day, and then quickly you're like, oh, I guess it's time to light candles. Quickly go and light a candle. Can't be like that. It's got to be from the second you wake up in the morning, you're thinking, you're building up. It's actually my daughter's birthday. 4 days. Oh, can everyone mute themselves? Thanks. I muted everyone. There you go. Power, the power of Zoom. So my daughter's been looking forward to her birthday for 364 days, really. And she's building up. So we've got to be looking forward to lighting the candles. Because, you know, on Pesach, we're eating matzah, and we got the whole of the Seder is a balagan, and Sukkot, you got the lulav and etrog and the sukkah, and there's so much physical stuff going on in all the other chagim. In here, we just got light 1 candle. The whole mitzvah is just light a candle, and each night, just light 1 candle. So the avoda, because we're going to be speaking about the avoda today, the avoda is all spiritual, it's all mental, it's all thinking and yearning, is understanding what the shefa, what the divine abundance is, and then yearning to tap into it. So this is what Rabbeinu Ha'arizal says. Our spiritual masters have said that the energy, the power of this time is the sphera of Hod. Hod. Now, Hod is actually the 8th sphera, which fits very beautifully, obviously. It's we have Chachma, Bina, and Das, and Chesed, and Gevur, and Tiferes, Netzach, and Hod. So it's the 8th, and obviously for the 8th day, the 8th festival, which is completely beyond time and space, we know that there are 7 days of creation. So 7 is within nature, and then 8 is beyond nature. We have the bris on the 8th day. But my Rebbe, the Bilvavi, actually says there are really 8 days of creation, because basically we had Shabbat before creation, and then Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, we had the 6 days of the work week, and then the Shabbat after creation. So it's actually an 8-day thing, and the Shabbat after creation, we're trying to tap into the original Shabbat. And our Shabbat that we have now is 6 days of work, and then we shall rest. But there was a rest, a menucha, that happened even before creation. It was the menucha of there's no creation yet. And that's what we're trying to tap into. Shabbat obviously comes from the word tshuva, to return. So we want to return to this space of beyond time and space, and that's what 8 days is representing. So what is Hod? What does Hod mean? So the main meaning of Hod, and what we're really trying to tap into this time, is Hodaya means acknowledgement. It's acknowledgement, it's recognition, it's realizing, it's seeing what is truth. If you are maideh to something, if you made a mistake and you are maideh to it, it means you acknowledge I made a mistake. You should be maideh ala emet. You should recognize what's true. So what are we trying to tap into? What are we trying to really be maideh to recognize and to acknowledge? And that is the power of Ein Od Milvadai. Ein Od Milvadai. There is nothing apart from Hashem. Everything is Hashem. Every heartbeat, every breath, everything that's going on, the whole universe itself is just an expression and hopefully a revelation of God's divine light. That's all there is. So our eyes see duality, and we see materiality, and we see matter and physicality, but really the deep down, the deep essence of everything is there's Ein Od Milvadai. There's only Hashem. And I think everyone here knows this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But to actually recognize that and really see that, even quantum physics nowadays, even atheist physicists say that matter as we know it is an illusion. The whole universe is just made up of quarks. There's a strings theory and the unified field theory. There is just one. And we played this game a lot in the Chabora, and that is the return to the source game. So everything you look at wood, and you say, where does wood come from? Wood comes from trees. And where do trees come from? Trees come from the ground. And where does the ground come from? The ground comes from stardust. And where does everything come from? Anything you look at glass, it comes from sand. Where does sand come from? Rocks. Where do rocks come from? They come from the earth. You look at wool, where does wool come from? Wool comes from sheep, and sheep come from mummy sheep, and mummy sheep come from mummy sheep. But where did the first sheep come from? Anything you look at all around you, all day, all the time, if you return it to the source, we know that it comes directly from Hashem. Hashem is the source of everything. And we have to try and tap into that and acknowledge that everything we do, everything that's going on in our life, and then also, therefore, everything that ever happens to us, everything in our life that's going on is all Hashem. There is only Hashem. We're basically living in a virtual reality. And Hod means to see through the virtual reality, to see the matrix. That's what we're trying to do, to see the matrix. The Arizal and our sages teach us that we have this power with the light of the Chanukah and the immense Shefa and divine light which is coming down at this time, to actually see through reality, to see the Ein Sof, to see the oneness of Hashem. But it takes work. It takes a vote. We have to try it. We have to try and feel that to get our hearts involved. So the main power we need to use is Koach HaDimyan. Koach HaDimyan is the power of imagination. Imagination. How would it feel to feel? How would it feel to feel that everything is Hashem? So the way we have to do this, my Rebbe says, Bilvavi, he says that first you have to feel yourself. You have to feel your neshama. You have to feel that this physical body and all of my issues and my work and my relationships and my kids and everything, that's an external garment to the true light. And the light is my own neshama. And everyone knows that the lights of the Chanukah, the flame, the candle represents your neshama. Is your neshama always yearning up? Your soul's always yearning to go upwards. The Tanya even says, you can see a flame, it just kind of wants to jump off the wick. It wants to return to the source. But before we can feel Hashem's oneness, we have to tap into ourselves. So the Rebbe says that you wake up in the morning and you say, Mode Ani, which from the word Hod. This Mode Ani, which means I acknowledge Ani. I acknowledge that there's a self. I acknowledge that there's something behind this body that is my Neshama. And once I can see my Neshama and feel my Neshama as my reality, then I can actually feel Einad Milvada. That's how I can tap into Hashem. Because our 5 physical senses, our sight and our smell and our touch and our taste and our hearing, they can't experience Hashem. So that the key that we need to experience Hashem, the faculty, the sense we need is our own Neshama. So that's what we're first doing. We're trying to feel our own Neshama. And as always, that's going to be through our breath. I'm talking to people mostly who've been in the Chabora, so you know I don't need to go deeply into all the avoda, but to really focus on your breath. It says in Breishis Rabbah, in the Midrash, Al kol neshima v'neshima tzarich lekales Hashem. On every breath we take, every single breath, we should be singing praises to Hashem all the time. It's based on the pasuk in Tehillim. We say every morning in pasuk, it's Zimra kol hanshama tehalelka halayuka. All the neshamas will sing your praises. So the Midrash says, Al kol neshima v'neshima. Every breath we take, we should feel that's our life force. I remember when watching my baby when he was born 3 months early in the incubator, and he was on a respirator, and every breath was another. It was like, thank you for that breath. Every single breath that was coming in, it was like, wow, that's actually this respirator is literally keeping this baby alive at every second. So we need to be feeling that every breath we take, we're on a divine respirator. We're being kept alive at every moment. And then we tzarich lakales, which means to sing praises. We've got to sing praises to Hashem all the time. And that's where we get the other meaning of the word Hod, which lahodot ulahalel. It says at the end of Alanissim, which we're going to start inserting into our prayers, all of this, the whole holiday is lahodot ulahalel, is to recognize and to thank and to praise Hashem. So what do we praise Hashem for? We praise Hashem for everything that's going on, every breath, all the time, which is really the major avoda, by the way, because after we light our candles, what do you do? What's the rest of Chanukah all about? What are you doing during the day for Chanukah? It's like, not much. That's not true. You're praising Hashem for every breath, every breath you take. And we're saying Hallel every day, and we're adding Alanissim, and is a major avoda to get into this state of, once I recognize that everything's from Hashem, once I recognize that there is only Hashem, then I can get into a deep, deep state of real gratitude for everything that's going on. So that's what we're trying to do. Chanukah, we're really in an hour or so in England. 2 hours in England, we're going to be lighting. So it says in the Gemara, you light from Shkia. You can start lighting from when the sun goes down, ad shetichle Regal Minhashuk, until the people stop coming home from the shuk, because you want people to walk past and see your Chanukah. But the Hasidic masters say ad tichle means to finish, Regel means people walking home, Minhashuk means from the marketplace, from work. But our Hasidic Rebbes say there's something called Regal Minhashuk. Regal Minhashuk, the word regel, which means walking or feet, is related to the word lehitragel, which means to do things habitually. You do things habitually. So Regal Minhashuk means we've just got used to doing things. We got used to our lives. We got used to lighting Chanukah candles. For most people, I find it very difficult. So I light my Chanukah candles and I try to think about my Neshama, but then we kind of play with dreidels and have sufganiyot, and I never really get the most out of it. But we're trying to do it ad shetichle Regal Minhashuk, until we stop doing things out of habit, until we're actually taking that candle lighting and doing it new every day. And I've been learning a sefer, B'yam Darkecha. B'yam Darkecha is written by a major student of Rav Morgenstern, who's an English Makubal. He actually lives in Israel now, probably maybe the biggest Makubal at the moment. Rav Davud Avukatzer actually said he's the Gadol Hador, which is amazing coming from the Gadol Hador. So he's been saying this is how you're actually going to do it, because whether you feel it or not, there's your neshama is getting an immense tanuk, is getting an immense pleasure from candle lighting. So we need to tap into that immense pleasure that the light that's coming down, your neshama is feeling that light, whether we feel it or not, it's happening. So your neshama is feeling light. So these are the steps. The first thing he says is we have to have hishtokikut. Hishtokikut means yearning. You got to yearn for it. I'm yearning. And what are we meant to be yearning for? What we're meant to be yearning for is Einod Milvado, is relationship to Hashem. Kirvat Elokim Litov. And it's very difficult, even us who are into mindfulness and into mitzvahs, and we're really trying to grow and we're observing and we're trying our best. It's very hard to just be yearning for a life of truth because we're busy and we got university and we got school and we got jobs and we got to pick the kids up and we got financial stuff. So very hard to just yearn for something real, for emunah. Are we really, honestly, in our everyday life, waking up in the morning, yearning for a relationship with Hashem? And when we go to sleep, yearning for a relationship with Hashem, yearning for a true life, yearning for the light. There's an immense light in creation. It's full of light. Are we yearning for that? Is that what we really, really want? Or we're too busy? And then sometimes during Mincha, maybe we can try and think about it a bit. So the first thing that's going to build us into lighting the candles is yearning for the relationship. That's what we want. For truth, for devekas, for meaning, for light. And get ready. Don't set up your candles, and you got to get up in the morning, set up your candles straight away and think about your candles all day. Whatever else you're doing, you're like, I'm getting ready to receive this divine immense light. You got to build up. By the way, once again, this isn't just an idea. You actually have to do this. I'm talking to myself as well. I've been learning this for the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, hold on, have I done it yet? Have I really started yearning? So for the last over Shabbat and today and this morning and davening, I'm starting to really yearn for Hashem. This is what I want. Like the candles are yearning upwards, and I really want this. The next step after hishtokikut is hitboninut. Hitboninut, which you've spoken about, is contemplation. Really think about it. What is my life really about? Am I all my problems and the things I get caught up on and I'm worried about and they upset me? And is that really what life's all about? It's not. What life's all about is revealing God's light in the world. That's it. There's nothing else. The only reason we're on the face of this universe, of this projection of God's light, is to reveal God's light. We have to be a kli, a vessel, to legalot et or Hashem. That's what he keeps saying in Bayam Darkecha. We just want to become a vessel to reveal godly light into the world. That's it. So hitpaninut, to contemplate that. What is my life really for? What's it really about? And am I living in tune with my, there you go. Am I living in tune with my values? My values are peace of mind and consciousness and light and sweetness and truth and emunah. Am I living in line with those values? And then the third part, after you've done hishtokikut and hitpaninut, contemplation, you have to go to bakasha. Before you light your candles, now, you have to do it now. You got to go and sit for 5 minutes at least. If you can get into nature, and you have to ask Hashem, you've got to beg Hashem, say, please, please, Hashem, I just want to have a relationship with you. I just want to feel it. I want to, here we go. To know, I just want to know and see you in everything and connect to the divine light. I wish I could read this whole chapter to you now. Yishtokek uyivakesh. You got to yearn and request with your whole heart. Shia'ir lanu ed ora, that Hashem should enlighten us with His light. V'nizkeh b'koyach ner Chanukah, and be zeicher, be merit with the power of the light of the Chanukah. She'Hashem yishbarach ya'ir et nishmatenu letzet me'achoshech, and Hashem should light up our neshama to get away from the darkness. Life is very difficult, obviously, in this time of year, but there's darkness. People don't have a sense of self-worth anymore. They don't have a sense of purpose anymore. We're just kind of trying to stay alive and survive. But it's called lechiyot chayim amitim, and we should yearn and beg Hashem that we should merit to live a true life. Chayim shel emunah, a life of emunah. Chayim shel or, a life filled with light. Imagine you're just walking around just full of light. And I think some people like that. I see some of my Rebbes, they're just walking around full of light and joy and vitality. And it's not that their lives are necessarily easy. They got some difficult things, but once you see that everything happening in your life, all your challenges and all your struggles, that everything is just coming from Hashem. It's just coming from Hashem anyway. So you can just see that even in your deepest challenge, that is a revelation of Hashem's light. That's the biggest Kiddush Hashem. If you can go through your sufferings and your struggles and bring out Hashem's light, that's the biggest revelation of Hashem's light. The deeper the darkness, the Yavan, the Greek darkness we have, the deeper it is, the more opportunity there is to bring out this light. But you have to do this. There are 3 stages. I'm going to repeat them. Please do them before you light your candles. Number 1 is hishtokikut. Hishtokikut and hitboninut. Hishtokikut means to yearn. Hitboninut means to contemplate. And they really go together. Because the more you think about how much you want this in your life, and how much, everything you want in your life, you want joy, you want love, you want connection, everything you want in your life would come if we had this deep relationship with our neshamas and with Hashem. So you're going to yearn for that, and then bakasha, you have to ask. You have to ask, please Hashem, do this. So these are your 3 stages. And then to light the candles themselves, I don't know how long I've been, I want to keep it short, but we're going to spend all day looking forward to it. And the candles themselves, set them up, and it's not just Baruch Atah Hashem. You got to be by that time. Hopefully, you've built yourself up. You got to be ready. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm just about to do something unbelievable here. Your neshama is bouncing all over the universe. It's like, cannot wait for these candles. So the amount you put into that lighting, that's what you're going to get out. If you just say the bracha and light it and that's it, you're not going to get it. So lahadlik ner Chanukah. The Arizal says that it's really based on a pasuk, Nafshenu chikta lashem ezreinu umegineinu. We say it every morning in Pesukei Zimra. Nafshenu chikta lashem, which means our neshamas are yearning for Hashem. Your neshama is yearning all day, every day, is yearning for Hashem. So Nafshenu chikta lashem is the Roshei Tevot, the first letters, are Nun Chet Lamed, which are the same Rashi Tevas as Lahadlik Ner Chanukah. By the way, if you have the tradition to say Lahadlik Ner Shel Chanukah, that's also halachically acceptable. But according to the mystical tradition, we don't say Shel. My mother actually had a beautiful chiddush. She said, because Lahadlik Ner Shel Shabbat, they're the candles of Shabbat. We're not even lighting them on Shabbat. They're the candles to represent Shabbat. But Lahadlik Ner Chanukah, the candles are themselves the mitzvah. They are the mitzvah of Chanukah. So it's not shell. It's not of Chanukah. It's a beautiful insight from my mummy. Shkoyach mummy. But there's a few reasons. Firstly, if you take out the shell, then Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner Chanukah is 13 words. And everyone knows that the 13 is the gematria of echad, of one. So we're thinking that Hashem is one, there's only one. And the second bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher nisim la'avoteinu b'yamim ha'behem b'zman hazeh, is also 13 words. And we know that 13 is gematria ahava, love. So one love. Bob Marley got it right, I guess. But one love. So Chanukah is all about one love. And 13 plus 13 is 26, which is Hashem's name. I've got this whole other amazing kavanas. I'm going to send it out. I think I sent it out to most of you. I'm not going to talk about it now, but there are different names of Hashem that we can focus on. But the first thing we're trying to focus on is Nafshenu chikta lashem, that my soul is yearning for Hashem when we make this bracha. So this is what the Yam Darkecha says. When you're going to say the word lahadlik ner Chanukah, what are you going to think? You firstly, obviously, when you say the word Baruch, this is, by the way, it takes the Rebbe's like 20 minutes just to say the bracha. You don't have to do that, but you can see why. Just the word Baruch, which means Hashem, you're the source of everything. To just say Baruch, you should take your time over your bracha. Just take your time, say your bracha, mean your bracha. Baruch. Baruch means Hashem, you're the source of everything. Everything in my life, everything on the planet, the whole of the universe. Baruch Atah. When you say the word Atah, I feel you're actually speaking to Hashem, who's mamish there in front of you, 100% there. Baruch Atah, you're speaking to Hashem. Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik. So what do you think when you say lahadlik? The main kavana is that you are lighting up your neshama, your own neshama. Lahadlik. Lahadlik really means to ignite. So if you've got a car, you might have the best car in the world. You got a Ferrari, whatever the best car in the world is, but you got to turn the key on. You got to turn the key, light up your neshama. We've all got a neshama. You've got the most bright, shining, powerful, healthy, pure, sweet, conscious, conscientious neshama, you just got to light it. Sometimes it feels a little bit squished by life. We got so many layers covering up our neshamas and so many things going on around us. We've got the darkness of Yavan, of materiality, of physicality. It's squishing our neshamas. So the fire of our neshamas are just on low heat. We got the word low flame, just bubbling a little bit. But we got to light up your neshama. So you're going to say lahad lik and take a moment and breathe. Kol neshima v'neshima. Every breath you take, your neshima, your breath is lighting up your neshama. Lahad lik. Feel your neshama. And this is the first stage. Remember my Rebbe said, the first you say modeh ani. Modeh ani at the beginning of the day means I acknowledge the ani. I acknowledge I have a soul. Modeh ani. So that's what we're doing. Lahadlik means there's a neshama. I got a neshama, and try to feel what it would feel like to feel your neshama. Feel what your neshama is feeling, because your neshama is feeling immense pleasure from the divine light that is coming down. What I often imagine is that there's basically like a spotlight on me. Shoom. And if that's going to make you feel very self-conscious, don't do that. But it's a loving, sweet, warm, godly, divine, angelic spotlight that's on me. And I just feel pipelines, tzinor, a tzinor, which is the same letters as the word ratson. So the more you want it, the more you're going to get it. The pipelines of divine energy are just pouring down on me. And I really feel that. I can feel like it's a shower of divine light coming down on me, this spotlight. So I lahadlik. And I'm feeling this divine light coming down on me and my neshama coming up. Lahadlik ner Chanukah. Now there's immense kavanas for ner, which I sent out. If anyone didn't get it, you can email me, dbcohen@h.com. I'll send you out the kavanas for ner. But the basic kavana for ner, Chanukah, is then to say, once I got me, modeh ani. What's the word after modeh ani? Lefanecha, in front of you, in front of you. Now, you have to have a me, you have to have a sense of self to stand in front of Hashem. You have to feel your neshama to be able to feel Hashem. You have to. If there's no strong sense of self, then you can't feel Hashem. But once you're lefanecha, once you're in front of Hashem, then your sense of self, it goes out the window. It's like, I got a light on my bike, and in the night it's a very bright light, but sometimes I forget to turn it off. And in the morning I ride my bike and the light's on. You can't even see the light because of the light, the bike light, which is very bright and shining during the night. During the day, during the sun, it gets completely mavatel, is nullified. As they say in the Gemara, if you light a candle outside in the middle of the day, it doesn't do anything. Mayoil, it doesn't serve any purpose. So once you have your strong own light, then you can completely try and mevatel it and try to get this sense of Einad Milvadad. There's just Hashem. Like my light is completely consumed and subsumed into the Or Ein Sof, into the highest, biggest light. So that's what we're trying to do, to try and get. I made a joke. I was actually teaching this. So you got your candle, your shamash, and you're about to light your Chanukah, and you're like Baruch Atah Lahadlik. No, and then you completely it's not funny, but you lose all kind of sense of self. Your beard is like, his beard's gone fire. He's like, ah. But anyway, you got to try and keep some sense of self, because you actually have to light the candles. But the more you play this game of dimyon, as I said at the beginning, this imagination, what would it feel to feel Hashem's light? What does it feel to be completely mevatel, nullified into Hashem's light? Feel it. This is still only the bracha, by the way. This is half an hour into your bracha. You haven't even lit the candle. That's why you've got to get one of the long candles to actually light the Chanukah. Don't do it with a short thing. And obviously you've got the L'Shem Yichud before you even start lighting. The more you put into your bracha, the more you're going to get out. That's it with spirituality. You have to do it. You have to do the work. Lik ner Chanukah. And then you're going to light. You're going to light your candles. And then really the mitzvah is, unless you've got 3 children running around, is to sit for half an hour and look at the lights. Sit, liraitan bilvad, just look into the light. And this is what it says. Here we go. I'm just going to read this bit and then we're going to finish. So now you've lit your candles. And you've said your 3 brachas, Shechian, or the Kiman, or the Igian, or Lazman. And you sit down and you just see this. It's very special. The first night, very special. It's just that one unity consciousness. It's just Hashem. When you look at that candle, what are you seeing? You have to see your neshama. See that as your neshama. That is your neshama burning up, and also see deeper. Once again, Madiani lefanecha. First, you see your neshama, and then you see deeper into the Or Ein Sof. That's Hashem's light. There's a physical representation of Hashem's light. This is what he says. Here we go. You have to contemplate more and more as you're looking at the lights. But nachas v'noim, with peace of mind, and with sweetness. But shall heves ha'olam in neres Chanukah, with the fiery flame that is yearning upwards from the Chanukah lights. V'lachush b'kibo et or Hashem yisbarach v'zoyrech alav. And you have to feel within you the light of Hashem yisbarach that is shining upon you. Ki neres Chanukah meramezais al ha'or eloki, because the lights of Chanukah are hinting towards the divine light. Shebnei Yisrael tzrichin kidei la'ir es nishmatam, that we need that in order to light up our neshamas. V'ora Chanukah me'oireh b'nefashos Yisrael gaguim v'ishtakekud atzuma l'shosham. And the lights of the candles of Chanukah awaken within the souls of Jewish people a yearning, a deep yearning for their source, for their root, la'or ha'ein sof, for the light of Hashem, the Ein Sof. And that light, we're fixing our sight by looking at the candles. We're fixing how we're looking, and it's giving us the power to see the world differently. Until we merit to see divine Hashemness in everything you look at everywhere. Once again, it's by doing that game. Where does that phone come from? Made of plastic. Where does plastic come from? Plastic comes from oil. Where does oil? It all comes from, everything's Hashem. Everything's just Hashem's light. I always give you this example in yeshiva. If you imagine a blue horse with 3 legs, you're imagining this blue horse with 3 legs. It does exist to some extent, but only to the extent that you're imagining it. And its whole existence and its whole essence and its whole material is just your thought. You are creating in your imagination this blue horse, and if you stop thinking about it, it disappears. That's what Hashem is doing it for the universe every second of the day. B'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshis. Hashem's keeping us alive. Think about us. It's just, or everything is Hashem's light in physical form, and you can start to see that. To see the hand of Hashem in everything, and everything that ever happens to us. Everything that happens on our individual level. Everything that ever comes upon us, every thought, every emotion, every experience. Yalhiv et libo, you should light up with a fiery passion your heart. You say you're sitting in front of the candles and you're just saying, or awaken, lahadlik, light up your neshama, light up your whole way you look at reality. And the candles have that power to completely transform us and turn us into these people with fiery passion for Hashem's oneness, basically. And that's the first night. And you did it again the second night, bigger and bigger and more light, more and maisi for hailech. We should add and keep going and keep going. By the way, it never says to stop. It doesn't say you should stop adding light to the end of Chanukah. We just keep adding light. So this is the work. This is the work. And it's up to us first to yearn for it, to yearn from it and ask for it, and then to take time over the bracha, and then to sit there using your koach and dimyon, your imagination, and feel as you're looking into the candle that your own neshama is just mamish yearning up, bright vitality, burning away all your external stuff. Everything else that's going on in your life is just burned, is just completely subsumed and consumed in this immense divine light that's coming down into our neshamas. There's just a chance. That's what I'm going to be doing. I don't know about you. If you want to look at that sheet I sent out, and if it helps you, I'm going to do a whole different session on this, but to look at the special combinations of the divine names that I sent out, there are 3 levels of divine name, Adnos and Elokim and Ekyeh, and how they combine together to form with Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey to form 250, the gematria of Ner. You can also do that, but don't get too overcomplicated. Just try and be very simple, like one candle, just sweet. So I'm going to have those names stuck up, by the way, but I'm not going to try and be, I'm not Rav Morgenstern. And by the one very last thing that Biyam Dakef often says, let's say you do everything and you try and you just don't feel it. He says, don't be broken by that. Don't be broken. The fact that you turned up, the fact that you tried, that's what's very special. And your neshama feels it. And the fact that you came and you turned up and you tried and you did it, that's very, very precious to Hashem. So we do our best. Be'ezus Hashem. Happy Chanukah. You should all be zeicher. We should all merit the divine light to really tap into our neshama. It's real, basically. Your neshama is a real thing, and Hashem is a real thing. And this is what Chanukah is trying to do, to give us this spirituality isn't just a nice idea. Spirituality is the whole essence of reality, and we're trying to actually feel that and see the world and other people through spiritual eyes. Be'ezus Hashem. We should all be blessed. Mamish.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Auntie Shirley. I love you.
Thanks, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you very much. It was beautiful class.
Yes,
Thanks, Rav.
I'm leaving. I'm getting ready.